Hello, I'm John with the FUTEK Technical Support Team. In this video, I'm going to go over some tips and suggestions on how you can troubleshoot your sensor. Support information for your sensor or instrument can be found on the FUTEK website using the instrument or sensor's serial number. You can also type the part number, serial number, or name into the search window along the top of the FUTEK website. First, ensure that the power supply of the sensor is operational at the correct level and connected to the right connections on the sensor. Many times, this is the plus or minus excitation of the sensor's connections. Ensure the instrument reading from the sensor is also operational, that it's set to display the correct units and is connected to the correct output of the sensor. Many times, this is the plus and minus signal connections. Ensure that the entire support section of the sensor is properly supported. Ensure that the applied load is only in contact with the loading areas of the sensor and that it's not supported by the body of the sensor or any fixtures. Ensure that the loading area is free to deflect into the sensor's body, that there's nothing under it that is going to stop the loading surface of the sensor to deflect downward or away from the sensor. The sensor spec sheet will show the active end, the fixed end, and the non-loading surfaces or body of the sensor. Make sure that the support area of the sensor is supported in its entirety and that the underside of the loading surface is free to deflect inward or away from the sensor with respect to the outer support ring. For sensors that have an outer support ring that needs to be bolted into place, the tightness of the bolts, as well as the flatness of the surface that the outer support ring is being bolted to, becomes critical, especially if the sensor is going to be used in tension and will be pulling against those bolts. The sensor manual will show the maximum bolt torque as well as any recommended bolt patterns when tightening down the bolts into the outer support ring. For some sensors, a tension base plate conversion is available. The tension base can be secured to the outer sensor's support ring and will result in a point-to-point connection, providing for a more stable and constant support. Tightening a bolt down onto the loading surface of a sensor will result in applying bolt clamping force onto the sensor. Placing an item on top of a bolt that is already preloaded with the clamping force can remove or reduce the bolting clamping force, reducing the readings on the sensor. Make sure sensor cables are properly seated and fit into the sensor's connector. Some connections require a twist, while others, like a LEMO, simply slip into place. Refer to the sensor spec sheet for information about the wiring as well as the sensor connection type. One of the best ways to check your sensor is to take it out of its applications and fixtures and test it with known loads. The spec sheet for the sensor will show the wiring and connection names. Plus or minus excitation, or plus or minus E, is power to the sensor, and plus or minus signal, or plus or minus S, is the output of the sensor. The plus and minus signal wires should go to a multimeter, and the plus or minus excitation wires should go to a power supply. The spec sheet for the sensor will refer the maximum power that can be supplied to the sensor. To make sure that the sensor is outputting correctly under a known load, we'll have to figure out what the electrical output for those known loads should be. The spec sheet for this particular sensor shows that the output is 2 millivolts per every 1 volt supplied to the sensor, and that output happens at 1 pound load or 453.6 grams. We're powering the sensor with 10 volts. This means the full electrical output when the sensor is fully loaded to 453.6 grams will be 20 millivolts. 50 grams has been applied to the sensor, so 50 grams is what percentage of the full capacity of 453.6 grams. It comes out to be 11%. So we should be 11% of the full electrical output of 20 millivolts, or in this case, 2.2 millivolts. Now 100 grams has been added, and 100 grams is about 22% of the full capacity of the sensor. 22% of the full electrical output is 4.4 millivolts. A normal sensor zero or unloaded state should be under 10% of the sensor's full capacity or full electrical output. Fixtures or other items attached to the sensor will create a load on the sensor. Over tightening during installation can create a load on the sensor. Try backing off the tightening of the sensor to see if this helps reduce the zero. Check for any internal opens by measuring the internal resistance between the sensor connections, such as plus or minus excitation and plus or minus signal. You'll find the nominal bridge resistance on the sensor spec sheet. A sensor that has been overloaded, either from a direct inline overload, off-axis load, or torque through the sensor, may deform the sensor, leaving it with a constant higher output. We're unable to repair an overloaded sensor or an open in a sensor. In these cases, a new unit would be recommended. Unstable or drifting readings. It's often described as a slow, small amount of increase or decrease in readings over time. When instruments and sensors are first powered, it's common to experience a warm-up drift as current starts to flow through the instrument and through the sensor. A normal drift will decay or settle over time. Generally, most customers find they can do a tear of the drift effects after 10 minutes. A small drift or settling may occur when a sensor is loaded or returning to an unloaded state as the material of the sensor settles into its new deflection or returns to its original shape. Other items can affect or cause drift in the readings, such as temperature changes, the stability and support of the sensor, as well as the support of the applied load, and an unstable power supply. Refer to the sensor spec sheet to get an estimate of the change in output from the sensor while under load from one temperature to another temperature while still under the same load. During this time, the sensor will go through a shift in the zero and a temperature shift in the span. The equation on the spec sheet can be used to estimate how much the sensor output will change between temperatures. Noise generally is a fluctuation in readings that's caused by the injection or capture of another signal. Higher sampling rates or higher bandwidths in instruments can allow more noise to pass through in a system. The sensor being in proximity to high power devices and electrical motors can experience noise from these devices. If the sensor's power supply is noisy, then that will translate into a noisy sensor output. Sometimes physical actions can look like noise, such as vibrations or given support over time. When the sensor shield is listed as floating on the sensor spec sheet, it means that the shield is not in contact with the body of the sensor, leaving it to be connected to a ground on the instrument or power supply without creating a ground loop with anything in contact with the body of the sensor. Grounding the shield of the sensor's cable can help with noise. Measure the output of the sensor's power supply to see if it is the source of the noise. If possible, connect the inputs of the measurement instrument together, as this may show the inherent noise present in that instrument. Test the sensor outside of its current environment or location and physically remove from the application to see if the noise persists. If needed, a sensor and instrument can be sent to FUTEK for further testing and confirmation. On the FUTEK website, an RMA can be started. This will start the process for items to come into FUTEK. If you have any further questions, please reach out to the FUTEK technical support. And thank you for joining me for this video on how to troubleshoot your sensor.